We are here to discuss the hard topics and present the truth.
We want to share our personal struggles to let you know that Christians do fall short.
But you have to hold yourself accountable for your actions.
We're not here to judge, right or wrong, but instead allow you to come to your own conclusion through Christian discussion and Bible study. Now let's talk. All right, let's get into it. I'm Ryan.
I'm Jalea.
And today we're about to talk about faith. So we're going to get right into it.
Hopping in there.
All right, so let's talk about what Christians commonly say.
What do Christians commonly say about faith? So, me growing up, all I ever heard was, you gotta have faith, baby. Just trust God. Have faith.
Right, or the faith of a mustard seed will move a mountain. You feel me?
Or, faith without works is dead, baby. You gotta. I'm like, okay, so what does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't.
That's true. So I feel like there's so many different things or I guess mantras out there around faith. But we're really going to talk about it today because I think in the Christian walk, people don't really understand faith. Sometimes they think faith is just, I just believe and I got faith, right? Yeah. But if we get into it, the demons believe, but does that mean they have faith? You know what I mean? So we're going to talk about it today. I'm really excited about this topic specifically. So we'll shift gears. We'll talk a little bit about how you thought about it different. Like, how can you think about it differently? So what are some ways you could think about faith differently other than just the common things you always hear?
I think you first have to get a full understanding of what faith is. Like, a lot of people they hear the word, but it's like, do you really understand what faith is? Like, in your head, you think, okay, faith, so that just means what? And so I know for me, finding the true definition of what faith is, understanding, finding it actually in the word, of course, which we'll get to that, but understanding, okay, so faith means not just you believe, but also in order for that to be a true belief, you have to have the action. And so that's where you kind of get into faith without works. Okay, so my activity will show that I have faith. Right. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's just kind of my thought process was, okay, so in order for me to actually demonstrate faith and actually live a life of faith, how I move has to line up with the fact, I have faith because of how I move.
It's that part, right? Like, faith isn't just believing, it's actually in your feet, right?
Yes.
It's actually how you move and how you walk and how you talk and how you live life for real. Mm-hmm. So, that's a different way to think about it, though. I think people just often are just saying, like, I got faith. I believe that God gonna do what he gonna do, and I'm gonna sit here until he do it. And it's like, but is that really faith?
Nope.
Like, are you actually walking?
Nope,
you know what I'm saying?
Not at all, yeah.
And then I think a lot of, the faith of a mustard seed moves mountain. Mm-hmm. But that's the minimum. Like, think about how small a mustard seed is.
Like, do y'all know how small a mustard seed is? Like, it's like this big.
It is.
So that's all you need to move a mountain. So imagine what you could do. First of all, let's just get to the mustard seed. Like, obviously, if it only take a mustard seed to move a mountain, but ain't nobody mountains being moved, that kind of tell me something. There's someone doesn't have faith out here. A lot of us Christians don't have faith out here because we struggling with, is the light bill gonna get paid? Are my kids gonna make it to college? Am I gonna have a good job? That's nothing. We talking about a mountain and you talking about a light bill. Oh, Lord. So, I don't know. That's just my thought process behind the whole faith thing. I'm trying to tap into that mustard seed and then maybe get to like a apple seed. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how big an apple seed is.
It's like that big, you popping out the apple,
Yeah, if it's bigger than you, for sure. I think, you kind of said, what you just said, I think was really important because you talked about feelings. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I think our feelings we get caught up in our feelings, and that's when we lose faith. Because 100%. You got a lot of bills, you got the pressures of a lot of different things coming at you, and all you know how to do is react to that circumstance, but you're not, and that's when you lose the faith, because you're not really relying on God. You're like, I got to handle this situation. So I think a way to think about it differently is you can't let your feelings, you can't let your feelings get in the way of what true faith is. Right? Faith is in your feet, like you were saying. It's not in just believing only.
Right.
And then the mustard seed, that's your thing. That's the minimum.
Yeah.
So
small.
Definitely a different way to think about it. And that's really what we want y'all to kind of think about from our discussions. We want you all to understand that there's different ways to think about faith. There's different ways to think about every topic we're going to discuss. So, no, that's good. So, personal testimony.
All right, all right. Tell me what you got. What's your personal
Yeah.
testimony?
So, I think for me, personal testimony, I was at a place in life where everything was good, right? And so a lot of people may not know, but I was in the military. You know, in the military, you get a check every 2 weeks. You know, 1st and the 15th, you getting a check, everything's good. You don't have to worry about health insurance, like none of that, right? But I knew that there was more for me, right? Like I knew God said, hey, I got more for you to do, and it's not in this space. Like your time here has run its course. But I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I just prayed. I asked God, hey, what should I do? Where should I go? And he said, you know, your passion is sports. Your passion is developing people. And I want you to go down to the NFL Combine. And I'm like, but God, I don't know anybody at the Combine. You know what I mean? He goes, go. So I went down there, met my business partner that I've been with. We've been rocking for 4 years now. Met a lot of, you know, GM, scouts, people that I was able to network with, but I met another guy named Mo Kelly, and he's a player development guy in Seattle. And he said, he was my frat brother on top of that. So I was like, hey man, look, I'm just trying to get a shot. I'm just trying to get in the league because I know I have these skills that God gave me, and I want to use them, you know, to help guys out. And he said, I want to bring you into Seattle. Brought me into Seattle, learned a lot, you know, working in player development with the Seahawks, and I knew that's where I needed to be. But if I didn't go to the Combine, I would never be where I'm at now. And, you know, now I've done work with the Giants, work with the Seahawks and player development, and now I'm a sports agent, and my whole passion is in developing people, right? Even, you know, as men and women, you know, in the Christian walk, like that's my goal, is to develop people. But if I didn't take that leap of faith and get away from my comfortability of having a secure check, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And I'll say, like, God is good. You know what I mean? He gave me more than I could ever imagine, because I said, I'm going to walk away from what's safe, what's secure, go to an unknown area, network with some people I don't know, and he figured it out for me. So that's my testimony on faith.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I do have a question. So, because again, we're defining faith.
Right.
So, at what point did you realize that your faith had to be activated? It had to become an action.
When I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
Like legit, when I was sitting there, like I'm praying, you know, you pray.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I prayed a lot, but I'm not really getting the answers that I'm looking for. So I really felt at that moment, I was like, well, I just got to go do it.
Right.
That was one, right? I had to go do it. Then the other thing is I got a confirmation.
Okay.
So I talked to a mentor, asked him, hey, what should I do? He said, I want you to call this person and tell them what you're trying to do. That person is a person that called me to go to the Combine. He said, hey, come down here and meet me, interview with me. I did, right? But I didn't know nobody. I just knew him. So It was a confirmation plus me just saying, I'm not getting the answers that I'm looking for, but I got to move.
Yeah. And I think another supporting thing about faith that we'll realize is that whenever you are operating by faith and you do feel like you're hearing God, and a lot of times people, that's, you know, a whole different topic, but a lot of people don't know how to recognize God's leading or his voice. So what you have to understand is, if you feel that nudge, that pressure, or that, and it's kind of uncomfortable, you're not really feeling it, it's probably God trying to tell you to go that way. And so I think that what will help you though is understanding that if he sends you, he's going to put everything where it needs to be. Like for you, he sent you to the Combine, but there was your mentor that was saying, yeah, like here's a resource for you. Yeah. And then whoever it is that you were interviewing with, oh yeah, here's some more resources for you. Yeah. And then whenever you met the guy that you ended up doing player development with, another resource for you. So all of that was there, right. But if you had never gone, like you said, then you would have never tapped into that. So we just have to understand, when you are moving by faith, that faith part is the moving, yes, but also knowing and believing that as I'm taking these unknown steps in this unknown path, like everything I need is gonna be there. Yeah. I feel like at this point, this is where you can kind of go back and tie it back into the scripture of like over and over again, how you see it all throughout the Bible, and why the Bible stories are so important. Because literally every Bible story is all about faith. If you go back, yeah, there's several other things that are addressed, but the main component, like if faith ain't in it, then none of the other stuff is happening. Yeah, so, I mean, I know you probably have a couple right off the top of your head.
I do, but before I get into that, I got it like, you know, when you get your first tattoo, your mom is really upset.
Yeah.
So I got my first tattoo, and she was really upset. But I said, but Mom, listen, it's like a faith tattoo. And she's like, what does it say? And it says, the will of God will never take you where the grace of God will not protect you. Mm-hmm. And quite honestly, I think it goes very well to your point. Like, God is going to place you in a position to be successful.
Yeah.
And he's going to protect you along the way, but you just got to move. So, yeah, that's spot on. But I do have some verses.
Come on, give it to us. So, give us that word, that truth that we like to talk about.
So I keep it short, right? So 2 Corinthians 5:7.
Okay. For
we live by faith and not by sight.
Okay.
Right? So to me, that's like, I don't know, that is all in your feet, right? Because you don't really know where you're walking, but you just going, you're like, God, I don't know where I'm going. You're going to show me where to go. That's where I need to go. That's where I need to get on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's good. John 11:40. Then Jesus said, did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? And then James 2:17. In the same way, faith by itself, if not accompanied by actions, is dead. So those are the three verses I would say really stick to me when I think about faith. Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? You got?
I love how it is because when it comes to faith, like they seem so simple.
Right.
But it's like whenever you do read the Word of God and you tie it back, you realize that those little small scriptures, they're simple because believing is simple. It's a faith thing. Like the believing, it's easy to see it. It's easy to read it. It's easy to say, oh, I believe that. But it's the action part of these simple scriptures that really challenge the flesh part of you, the mortal part of you. Because logically, ain't no way if I just take these steps, that's going to happen. Ain't no way. You can't tell me that's going to happen. You can't tell me that if I just say that I heard God say this, so because he said, like Noah, build a boat because it's about to flood, but these people ain't never seen rain before.
Right.
So it's like, it's simple, like, because God just said, go build a boat. That's a simple instruction, but whenever you don't have, a lot of times we don't have that, pre-existing structure of, I've seen this before, I've seen this or that. So a lot of times you may be a person that's a forerunner for people behind you. So it's going to be a lot of stuff that you probably have never done or never seen before. And so that's the scary part of it. So it's the human, like, I just have to die to my logic. I have to die to my flesh. And I have to say, you know what, God? If I said I believe you, then I have to just keep on walking. Like you said, it has to be in my feet, not in my feelings, not in my logic. It has to be, I'm just going to move. And so that's just kind of what I gather from just those three scriptures alone. And y'all, the book is filled. But I would say definitely start with those three and just kind of go into that and see what you draw from that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everything you just said is spot on. I mean, that is a perfect example. Noah's a perfect example of real faith. Because I think when people believe, they say, oh, I believe. But you don't have faith until you move, until you actually take the action. You could say, I'm going to wake up. Oh, I believe I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. Until you wake up, I don't believe it, right?
right.
You don't even really believe it.
Right.
But when you wake up and you actually do what you got to do, that's when the belief is put into action. And really, that's where faith starts. So definitely love talking to you about this. But we're going to transition to the next topic. And y'all stay tuned because we got more coming.
So much more. Thank you for joining us. If you found any of this helpful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing.
And if you really want to get into it, follow us on Instagram and send us a message.